Welcome back to Make Pods Great Again. I am back, and guess what? My bestie's back from
Yay!
California. What's going on, Nikki?
It has been so weird not seeing you. I
This has
didn't
been
like it.
like, oh my God, it's been a whole 4 days. How will I live?
Uh-huh. I got so used to podcasting like every other night in quarantine. So I was like, man, it's good to hear your voice.
See, I figured like there's no chance you'd miss because you'd still have 12 memes a day you could go correspond with me over.
Which I do and have since I've been gone. But yeah, still.
Man, how was California?
It
Gorgeous as
was
always.
wild. Oh, so gorgeous. It's already cold here in New England. So it was really nice to like get another little taste of summer for a hot second. But yeah, it is beautiful out there and everyone's really sweet and I like it a lot.
Santa Cruz is like the cutest little town on the planet. I still can't believe this is the first time you've been. Like, I can't.
I know.
You posted that, and I'm like, I've been twice. How the hell have I been to Santa Cruz twice, and you've never been? Like, I don't
Uh
understand that.
really though. Come on. Yeah, I know. How funny, right? No, I've not in all the time I've worked for HQ and all the time that I've like worked on these broadcasts and shit. I've never been to HQ. I've never been to the ranch. I've never been to Santa Cruz. And all the times I've been like second besties, sorry, with Logan.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
you guys had a picture posted, and I knew you were in Santa Cruz when I saw the picture because you were overlooking the ocean, and it's a view that I've had at least twice. And I've gone there 4 times, and the 2 times I've been there. But there's a little restaurant there called, or a little convenience store called The Point. Did you guys get over to it at all? I
wait,
think
is that where those burritos are from?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No, I didn't. We didn't get over there, but Heber texted me and was like, if you don't go to Point and get a burrito, we're not friends.
yeah.
I don't
He
know
was
what
the one
that
that
means,
turned
bro.
he turned me on to it. They take cash only.
Okay.
They won't take debit or credit cards. And it's like this tiny little convenience store. And it's kind of hard to describe other than it looks like a California convenience store, right? Like
Yeah.
everything's kind of packed in. It smells like an old house.
Cute.
And they sell these breakfast burritos, and they come in 2 sizes, like small football and regular size football. And seriously, they're
Huge and
huge.
huger.
Yeah, and they come with this hot sauce that's like super hot.
Ooh, I'm a
And
weenie. I can't do hot sauce. Hang
well,
on,
I
I'm
didn't do the
almost
hot
spaced
sauce, but
here.
it's like eggs and potatoes and bacon and I mean, you have all these choices, like tons of choices of what you can put in them. And they are legit. Like, I don't usually get like geeked out about local food too much. You're just like, okay, I know this is your local thing. It's great. No, this is like the real deal.
Amazing.
Yeah, like totally
Yeah, next
amazing.
time.
And then you go overlook the ocean and watch people surf. And it's like it's always the perfect day because Santa Cruz is like always 70 degrees and sunny.
Yes, yes. I don't know. I came back home and my husband was like, okay, wait inside, like at the airport and get your bags until I'm here because you don't want to wait outside because it's too cold. And I was
Yeah,
like, why do we live here? Why are we
because
doing this?
you don't have 60% taxes. That's why. And half of the
Ooh,
state's not on fire. That's why.
that.
Like,
Right.
you
No,
know,
they're definitely like next up for Sharknado or something out
oh,
there.
no doubt. But Santa
Yeah.
Cruz as itself is like this beautiful little, it's like a little surf town,
I
It's
loved it.
yeah.
Loved it.
What'd you think of HQ?
I didn't. So I got the tour. Obviously, it's like, relatively bare in comparison to like when all offices were full and a ton of people were working there. But holy, the gym is stunning. I
And
heard
that,
that they renovated it. So I don't know if you have seen the new one or
yeah, oh,
the
yeah,
old
I've
new
seen the new
one or
one.
whatever. It
Yeah, they'd renovated it right before I'd gotten there.
was beautiful. I loved it. And we mainly were outside because everyone was very
Right,
like COVID safe the whole
right.
time. So we like, there's like a bunch of picnic tables and stuff in the back and some like string lights. And we had a little like post production outside, eating pizza, drinking beer near each other, little gathering, which was nice.
Yeah, that gem is awesome. And then there's like a small mountain. I'm going to call it a mountain. They would just call it a hill.
Okay.
But I ran it with Castro and it felt like a mountain.
Ooh.
And it's like literally, as you know, it's within a quarter mile of headquarters, and it
Yeah.
goes, the elevation is ridiculous. So they've got like the perfect workout space there. Not only is the
Oh,
gym
totally.
amazing, but it's like a perfect 400 meters around the building, and then they've got that little mountain, so you can pretty much do anything there. It's cool.
You know what blew my mind, speaking of running uphill? I had never been to the ranch either. Um, the hill that they make them run there is
Yeah.
like straight up and down. It is like perpendicular to the ground. I was like, I don't want to walk that thing.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
cannot believe these athletes ran up like that. It doesn't look that bad on video. It's not like I had never seen it before. I had just never seen it in real life. And in real life, I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. Well, I've never been to the ranch. I mean, Dave and I aren't that tight, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure my invite's just moments away.
That's what
Moments
I
away.
was going to say. Yeah, for sure. He's going to call you up. Come on
Yeah,
out.
yeah, no doubt. Well, you actually got to talk to him.
You did a whole bunch. He was so generous with his time. I was so thankful. He's straight up the busiest guy in CrossFit. And
Oh,
he
I'm
like
sure.
legitimately runs that farm, which is so cool.
Yeah, he's an interesting dude. I had a good laugh when at some point you asked him, you're like, "So, can you give us a preview to the games?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Wow, that
Yeah,
was
I
direct."
also gave him a preview to that question.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
was
the way
like,
he is,
"Oh, we're
though.
going to talk about like, the full test and whatever, and like I'll ask you for like a peek ahead." And he's like, "All right, cool, let's do this."
Yeah, I think I think he's not a dumb dude. Like, I don't care what
Oh,
anybody
no, he's
says
a
about
pin
Dave. I think
though.
he's borderline genius if he's not already genius
Absolutely.
level. And it does not surprise me that he set you up for that and then just gave you the volleyball slam back. Nope.
I loved it. I loved
That's like,
everything about it. I loved that moment of the interview because I feel like Dave, you're right, like he's so smart and he's so willing to be himself and like be like, no, I'm not into it. What do you want? Like he wasn't going to sugarcoat anything for me or for our community. And that's who he is. And I think we need that at the helm the way that he is to make the system run the way that it does. I
well,
loved it.
well, he's got that little bit of a showman in him, I guess is my point, that he's
Yeah.
like, he knows if he just drops a big no on you, it puts you on the spot and it like sends the message that the games are
Yeah.
going to be unknown and unknowable, like,
Yep.
and so I thought that was a kind of a
It was
funny moment
funny.
you had with
Yeah,
him.
totally.
And
No,
you got to
he was
talk to
great.
the big boss while you were there. New guy Eric.
Okay. Can we talk about new guy Eric's interview?
Did
Please.
you feel like you were just on the air with me because when you guys were side by side, I'm like, shit, we do look alike.
Kind of.
I'm
First
like,
of all,
what
I
the
was like,
hell?
I know this Zoom life. Okay. Um,
I was just praying you would say something. I knew you wouldn't because you're too professional, but I'm like, come on, Nikki, please tell him he looks like me just for a second. Be
you
great.
know, I've leaned on this before, new guy Eric,
You
because
should
it's a
have.
very familiar feeling. No, what's funny is like I knew that interview was coming, and I was hoping to have a chance to catch up with him a little bit ahead of time, but it just wasn't in the cards the way that his schedule was and the way our broadcast schedule was. So when I spoke to him on the air was the first time I have ever spoken to him in real life, and his interview was my favorite interview all weekend. 100%, because I think I like let in just being like, man, how was Fran? Because that was like a big deal that like he did it first, and he was talking about how he like, had done that, and he'd done like a couple of the other benchmark wads at that point already too. And I asked him specifically about scaling because I think that he is such a rad representative of our community in that weird CEO space.
Right.
And I like had to cut him off because his answer to me was just like any answer that any of us would have given about working out in our home gyms. He was like, oh man, like, I got to figure out the stimulus, and did I want it to be really heavy, but I wanted to be able to do it unbroken. And I decided on this weight, which I had to take the blues off to make that weight, which kind of sucks because the blues are cool. And I was like, oh my God, like he's one of us. He really, like, it's not smoke and mirrors. It's not fake. Like that's exactly how I would answer the question if I was like, I wanted to do 95, but I should do 75 and take the greens off because then it wouldn't look cool. And like, and he was just going on. And I was like, hey, like, I have questions about being a CEO. I have questions
Well,
about like administrative game stuff, but I totally want to just keep talking about your Fran time, bro. It was
well, he
awesome.
did well. I mean, I thought his interview with you was good.
Yeah.
He seemed very genuine and forthcoming. I tell you what I liked about it. I'm not trying to slam on Greg. I know people think like everybody's out to get Greg, but I always felt like, I mean, I've interviewed Greg, and
Yeah.
Greg's also one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. But anytime you asked him a question, he already had the answer in his head he wanted to give you. Like he would come in to any interview with kind of an agenda he wanted to talk about, which a lot of people do. Not, it's
Mm-hmm.
not, again, it's not a complaint, but you'd ask him a question. Hey, what's the temperature today? Well, let me tell you about the, chronic disease. That'd be Greg, right?
Mm,
Whereas I thought with new guy Eric, he actually answered your questions. Like he
yeah,
reacted to what you were talking about, and it stayed really relevant to the conversation. So I appreciated that it wasn't, all right, let me just get on my talking points and,
exactly.
and give you the
Exactly.
corporate jargon. I'll just, give you an honest opinion. And so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Nice to
he was
see.
great. He was great. And I was like very impressed that everyone on the inside of CrossFit itself was so open about their planning process and how, they thought about canceling and they thought about doing things differently and they thought about and they had to pivot really fast. And, we were going to have the top folks all at the ranch. We were going to have 5 folks of each at the ranch, like with the, just
Right.
talking about how everything went down, I thought was really like human of them, and that is a really really great vibe to have in the community, because man, if 2020 is showed us anything, it's that like connecting with one another is really important. So just realizing the struggle and realizing the process and being really open about communicating with the community, it's a new vibe for
Right.
CrossFit, and it's an awesome one and a welcome one in my opinion. I think it went really well.
Were you surprised at how small HQ is, both in size and number of people that work there?
Yeah, I was. When the building itself is very it was like disappointing.
Right? A little bit. It's not what you
Yeah.
expect for sure.
No, no. I thought it was because in my head it's the Mecca, right? So in my head it's like pulling up to Google,
Right.
right? And you think it's going to be this like giant building with like rigs all over the place and people just like walking around with barbells constantly, and like it's an office building. But I understand why it has to be that way, because if it were like a tourist attraction, no one there would ever get any work done. And people would wander in all day just being like, "Hey, can I work out here?"
Right.
So
And they'd
like I
probably let
kind of
you.
get
That's the
that.
crazy thing. They probably
Yeah.
just let you come in and work out. When I was there were just dogs running around everywhere, which I thought was
Yes.
fun.
Yeah.
Um, and it was funny. Like over the weekend, we don't really need to get into this too much, but I'm sure you saw Ricky Garrard did the workouts, right?
Did
And
see that.
yeah, and went on and on about how he finished fifth, and there's some hubbub that he dropped the C word on Frazier, and all this. And so I did.
Whoa, I didn't
Yes,
see that.
yeah, it's great. So I did a post on it, and a bunch of people came into the post, because it was Garrard. They're in there talking about performance enhancing drugs
Mm-hmm.
and how HQ has this big conspiracy to bust the people they don't like and not bust the top athletes. And I said to all of them, I'm like, listen, like you guys have no idea. There's no way they could have a conspiracy. There's like 12 people that work there. Like
Yeah,
this
no.
isn't. They're
Ain't
like, oh,
that the truth?
they're like, it's a huge corporation. I'm like, it's really not. It is a huge corporation, but the headquarters has like a dozen people. Like, there's no way they could have any kind of like drug conspiracy. They just like, they don't have it in them. Like, there's
No,
just not enough people there to do this,
it's entirely true. That's entirely true.
Because I think people have the viewpoint that you did going in. Because I did. Like, I went there going, oh my god, I'm going to HQ. This place is gonna be so
Yeah.
big. It's gonna be full of people, and it's gonna be so intimidating. And you're like so disappointed that these are just like, people walking around in sweatpants and CrossFit t-shirts, and they're all working hard and doing their jobs, but it's just
Hmm.
not what you expect.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, it was wild. It was a trip.
Well, let's talk about the broadcast.
Can we? Let's do that.
Yes. You
Yeah.
killed it.
Thank you. Oh my God. That is like so nice to hear. Thank you.
It was fun, and I had every time you do something, I'd queue up a meme making fun of you. I'm like, I can't post this, even though
Oh,
I thought it was funny. I had you on the first day though with the Star Wars joke, but I just couldn't do it.
100%. What was funny was I went shopping, obviously, like I do. And I was like looking for something cute to wear. And I put that top on. And my best friend Whitney was like, I'm definitely getting like Ray vibes, like Ray from the new Star Wars. And so when you sent me that like Obi-Wan, you should post it. It's
Yeah, I
funny.
probably still could,
You
but
probably still good.
it's
I
just like
was like, yeah, it's Star Wars. That's what I was going for, man.
it's a weird thing, like watching your friends on TV. So it's you and Sean, and I don't really know Annie, but I've met Annie and I love her.
She's amazing.
Yeah, like she's an OG, so I'm like kind of starstruck by her a little bit.
We
And,
should have her on
and
the show.
I know we should. I love her.
Oh,
She's
let's do
amazing.
that.
She's
I'll
totally
text her.
amazing. But so it's you and Sean, who I know very well, and so I'm like, there's so many things I can make fun of, but I would put a few things in the stories, like making fun of Sean's gigantic arms, Jesus Christ.
Sean
And
is really fit.
yes, he is. That's why I'm so proud to say we look alike, because he's way fitter than me. It's great. It's amazing. But yeah, you guys did great.
Thanks.
So give us a little insight, like how the whole thing came together. I mean, I know it wasn't, the typical HQ broadcast that we've come to know and,
No,
and
definitely not.
expect.
Definitely not. Because I mean, the guys were just, and gals, the whole team were working so fast to make things the way that they could. Do you know what I mean? So like I said, they thought originally it was going to be like the top 30 guys and gals all heading out to the ranch. And then for a second it was like, can we even do it at the ranch? Because California is going crazy and it's shut down because of COVID. And then they were like, well, really, can we do it in California? Because everything's on fire. Do we have to move it? Do we have to change the number of people? They're working with a skeleton crew on the back end in order to make sure that everyone is safe. And this is just the kind of thing that they normally would have planned one whole year ago, and like
Right.
not for fun,
Right.
because it takes that long in order to get it down. So I'm so incredibly impressed by that team, man. They are just the best broadcast professionals you will ever find in the sport, and I am so lucky to have a chance to work with them. They do a really good job.
The parts that were funny to me were the parts where you could tell it had been put together quickly. Like in days past, when you guys were doing this, 2-3 years in a row, you'd have to see the regional stuff, and like it would look like something off of major TV networks.
Totally.
Perfect
Totally.
cuts to interviews, and perfect cuts back to the update show, and like. And every camera knows where it's going. And there were a couple of moments. There was one moment, I don't remember what Sean said exactly, but he was talking and they had the camera right on you, and you weren't looking at the camera.
Oh no. And I was like RBF hardcore. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I forget what he said.
And he was like, well, I guess cameras are going to show you everybody here for the beginning of the show.
That was it. I laughed so hard. I'm like, man, like that's what you get when you put together something quickly, and then they kind of bounced the camera back and forth a couple of times. Even he was like, where are we going? It was great.
Yeah, it happens. To be completely honest, and I worked in live broadcast for almost 10 years in TV news. That stuff happens even if you're way prepared and way because like it's so, you can test things a million times. This is the best example. We were on Zoom calls all weekend, right? Like Zoom is all I know now. And everything was working beautifully, integrated well. You could hear everything. It was like I was on my laptop, like the one that I'm on right now, and they somehow managed to like feed it through the back end and get it on the broadcast, like with the graphics and with the background and I don't understand. They're wizards. And everything's going great until the very last day and the very last interview. And we're like all on Zoom, and I've got my interview subject like on the screen with me, and they can't hear him in the back. And it's Matt Fraser. And that's kind of important.
That's a little important.
And like nobody changed anything. Like this is just how live broadcast works. It's just so dumb. It's like everything had been growing great all weekend, and we tested everything and everything was the same. Nobody unplugged anything. And all of a sudden like Matt's on and we're live, and he just won phase 1 of the CrossFit Games, and they're trying to toss to me, but nobody can hear him. I can hear him, but nobody in the back can hear him. And they're all like losing their minds in the back. Like everything's on fire. And I'm like, it's live TV, man. This is how we got it back. But it's amazing. Like it is a true testament to the people that we work with that like that stuff happens and they fix it, and you all heard him on the air. You know what I mean? Like it's awesome what they can do. So yeah, I agree with you that like more planning would have definitely made things more seamless and more complex and more fun. But that, unfortunately, that stuff can happen at any point in time. There were a few times where like I thought I had a graphic and I would just be like staring at the camera. Like there's a few moments where I'm just smiling at the camera for a minute, hanging out.
There were a few of those moments all around.
It's fine.
Kind of a few awkward moments, but I don't think those are things that really bothered people. I mean, I really liked what they did with you with the human interest side, like having, not only the one-on-one interviews with Dave and new guy Eric, but you had Bethany,
Robinson.
Robinson,
Yeah.
who had, lost weight and through CrossFit. I thought that was
Mm,
a really interesting conversation. And so some of those human interest stories I thought were a
so
really nice
good.
touch. I kind of would have liked to have seen more of those, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. I think it would be fun to integrate those more. I mean, I know that we had a whole pre-show. Like I had my own little pre-show full of human interest stories. And I think it would be really fun to expand upon that in the future. I'm not sure if anyone like tuned in for them.
I think they
That's
would
what
have.
my question is. Yeah.
I mean, my critique of the weekend is that it felt like just a missed opportunity kind of across the board in a lot of areas. Like some of it was really good. I thought the on-air talent was amazing.
I mean,
And I'm not saying that because I know you guys. I thought you guys were the right team.
oh,
Like as an
thanks.
example, like Sean and Annie. Just set Sean aside for a second. Like having Annie's actual competitive experience was really
Yeah.
invaluable in their conversations. Like as much as I like to see Sean and Tommy together, and I think they're really good together, I
Mhm.
thought having an actual competitor there or someone who's been in that competitive environment was important and
Yeah.
very cool. And
There's an event named after her.
yeah, well,
She's a
there you
big
go.
deal.
Yeah, she's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal. And she's so humble though. Like, she's talking
Oh,
about
crazy.
talking about how she hates some of those workouts. I'm like, are you like, you kill those workouts? What are you talking
I don't
about?
know. I don't know.
So I thought that stuff was good. And, I really liked, from a missed opportunity, I thought your human interest stories were good. I would have just liked to have seen more. So like as a viewer sitting there waiting, which is what I was doing because, I'm on
Yep.
Eastern time. So like it's like 3 p.m. when it's coming on. And I'm like, oh, how much longer? Like I wish they had brought you guys on at 2 p.m. and done an hour of human interest stories and talked about,
Really?
yeah, or just like talked about things going on in the community. Like I think people like that. I like that. I like to see what's going on in the
Yeah.
community, what other people are doing. I thought it would have been good for the brand, good advertising. It could have been a great opportunity to talk about what they're doing with the scholarship program, for instance,
We did
or
that.
I know you did, but I'm saying like you give an expansive, like, hey, we're going to give you, leading into the games as people are getting their
Yeah.
popcorn and beer and coming
Hell
in,
yeah. Hell yeah.
like
I love
spend,
that. I'm gonna take that feedback right to them. Be like,
yeah,
I heard they want more of me.
yes. Yeah, make sure you tell them it came from me. I'm sure that'll squash it right off the top.
Yeah, maybe I won't mention that. I
Yeah,
have been hearing from
I've been hearing from
sources.
the masses, not from John Woolley.
Definitely
Um,
not from John.
so like, and I think you could do that kind of as long as you want, even, and people would tune in. I don't know
Yeah.
how many people would tune in, but I feel like there's a lot. And then I felt, and truthfully, I think it would have given them time to give the people what they really wanted, which was split screen competition. Like
Let's talk
that,
about that.
yeah, that like the biggest miss to me, and I get it. I really get it. Like this is short notice, hard to put on. Like so I hesitate to even complain because I'm like so impressed that new guy Eric let them even do this.
I
You know
know.
what I mean? So
I know.
like so I don't want anyone to think and I'm not sucking up to get him on our show, although I'd like to get him on our show.
That would be fun.
I legit am grateful that we got what we got.
Yeah.
However, like as a fan, and I am a fan, like I'm sitting there watching, and so Sean comes on with Annie, and they're like, all right, let's give you the results, and it's just like ripping the Band-Aid off. Hey, these
Yeah.
people are in the top 5 and screw everybody else. And I'm sitting there as a fan going, I want to see Sarah. What happened to Sarah? And
I know.
you don't get Sarah. And
Yeah.
what happened to Amanda? And you don't get Amanda. And like, what happened to Saxon? What happened to Vellner? Like, I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like wanting to see my favorite athletes. I just thought from a brand perspective, you have people like myself that have their favorites
Totally.
that you just don't get to see them.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see them until their individual videos started coming out kind of hours later. I would have rather HQ take all that video when it's submitted, hold it, don't give out the results, and do a later update show. Give us more like kind of upfront human interest stories, and then give us what feels like a live competition, even though it's not live.
Yeah.
With better coverage of kind of the fan favorites and even the ones that aren't the fan favorites. Like these are the top 30. Like they all need to build their brand. Like I think of Griffin, CrossFit
Raleigh.
Thor, right? Raleigh, right?
CrossFit Thor, Griffin Raleigh.
CrossFit Thor.
Justin Royal. That's what we call him.
I only know people by their Instagram name. So CrossFit Thor. So, he had that huge front squat, But
Insane.
yeah,
Insane.
but he's a young kid and he's
Totally.
right on the edge of the beginning of his career, not the end. Like, as much as I hate to say it, Frazier's on the back end of his career.
Ooh, you think
He
so?
is. Yeah, well, he's in his late 30s, and these other kids are in their early 20s. Like, there's a 9-year gap between them, right?
Wait, he's not in his late 30s?
Well, I mean, he's like, for an athlete, he's 30 or 31, right? Whereas some of
Yeah,
these
he's
other
in
kids
his
are like,
early 30s.
he won't be doing this 5 years from now, is my point. Whereas Griffin will be in his prime 5 years from now, right? I'm not saying you don't cover Frazier. Frazier's amazing. Like, oh my God, he was so amazing. I'm just saying, like, poor Griffin over here he gets little to no coverage had he not won that event. And there's a dozen people that got none, that I know people in their communities would have loved to have seen them get 15 minutes. You know what I mean? That's all. Like, I just think all of these men and women are building careers for themselves, and this is an opportunity for people to see them, and so I felt like that was a miss. I know people wanted to see the head-to-head, and to get a sense of what it looked like. And truthfully, I thought it probably would have been even more alarming for people to see Frazier finish Friendly Fran in 3:08, and then nobody else finish for another minute and a half.
Yeah, right.
Like it's jarring to see it on paper. It's even more amazing when you see it live, side by side.
Yeah.
So that I know that some of that feels a little petty to say it out loud, but I know, like, as someone who likes sports and wants to see a competitive sport, that's what people wanted.
Totally. I have a couple thoughts. The first one is that I think a lot of the like initial like shock that came out, I think was because people had probably like the wrong expectations. So we had been trying to do the best we could to explain, because on day one, we delivered on everything that we said we would deliver on. So we had been trying to do our best to explain, like, results are coming in really fast. We know you guys really care about the results. We know you want to see the standings. We don't have a live updating leaderboard. So as soon as all the results come in, we are going to let you know what happened. And I think that a lot of people had different expectations and were expecting the Rogue Invitational and didn't see any of our explanations. And so that's really like frustrating and disappointing if you really think one thing and you get in and you see something else. So that's one thing, is I think that people's like expectations were probably just a little bit mismanaged because they hadn't seen what we were saying we were going to do, which is what we ended up doing. But I think the other thing is that you make really good points and people like wanted to see that. And I do truthfully think that so let me back up again. The reason why it all wasn't live, if anyone hasn't heard this yet, is because the athletes were not expected to do these events all at the same time. They did them all in their individual time zones, because what happened with the Rogue Invitational was some overseas athletes ended up working out at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And with the inclusion of the PFAA and the AAC, these athlete advocacy groups, part of that conversation was also like, they didn't want that to happen again because that provides an unfair advantage. And you can't make Cara Webb work out at 3 a.m. I mean, you can. Apparently she smashes anyway, but sure. So that was all part of, equal, fair, everything across the board. So that's why it wasn't like Rogue. But I kind of think that even if they held all the footage and then they put it out 2 hours later because that's how long it took, then you would get plenty of people complaining, being like, they already have the results. Why can't we know? Tell us that but aside from that, I actually think that the feedback was really good in that people wanted to see side-by-sides. They wanted to see it even if it wasn't live. They wanted to whatever. And I personally think CrossFit did a really good job taking that feedback in and updating for day 2. Because if you watch the last broadcast, like, they didn't come out in the top of the show and say exactly who was going where. Like, there was good buildup. They did show full events, and like they showed like quadrants and the full handstand hold and like the whatever, moving forward, and some clips, or at least like the end, like here's like Frazier's last round of whatever. And I thought incorporating that feedback on the fly was really the right move, because the feedback is legit. If that's what people want to see, then I'm glad that I kind of wish people were nicer about how they voiced it.
Well,
For
look,
the nice supportive community we have, there are some real shitheads online. Holy moly.
oh, come on. I was leading the shithead charge. Like,
Well, but you meme it and you laugh about it in order to spark discussion. Some people are straight up mean.
yeah, look, I thought I appreciated what they were trying to do on day 2. I could tell they were trying to do it. Even
Yeah.
that, as a fan, felt weird. And
Really?
yeah, because you get, all right, let's give you event 6 standings, and then you immediately get 7, and then all the standings change. So there's no, by anyone that could do any kind of basic math already knew who won. So you're basically like
Well,
just sitting through, trust me, like I can just go through my feed and give you people telling you this. Like that was the
yeah.
thing. It was like, I just would have liked to, like, I wish they could have just held it. I would rather take the complaint of why are you guys holding it to make it feel like a real competition, as opposed to what you're getting, which is, well, why didn't it feel like a real competition? You know, like people wanted it to be rogue. You can't be rogue, because I fully agree with, you don't want, you know, the Australians working out at 2 a.m, as an example. There's too many great athletes there, or anywhere for
Yeah.
that matter, to make it unfair for them. But it just like, it just as a spectator felt weird. That's all. I appreciated
Yeah.
what they were trying to do, and I really appreciated what they tried to do on day 2. I really
Totally.
did. Like
Yeah, I did
I
too.
thought to myself when they came in and Sean started giving the update, I thought, all right, like they're making a real shot at this.
Yeah.
I knew they wouldn't pull it off completely because it was too short notice. Like, and again, like kudos to them for trying, man, because
hmm
like trying to move an entire media team on a dime, I'm sure, is not easy by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but thank God for Sean Woodland. Like,
Yeah, well,
I don't
true
know what they're
professional.
paying that man, but it's not enough. He can pivot on a dime like that. And it is, he can riff off anything. Like, prepare the show, cool. Randomly do commentary and color over the show, cool. I don't know, make something up, cool. Like, he can just roll with it. He's so good. I don't know. The last broadcast to me felt like where we needed to be, because I was on the interview set, like, and I can hear it as it's happening, and I didn't have the full standings yet because I had been preparing the pre-show.
Sure.
So as it was happening to me, I was like, yeah, what's next? Yeah, okay, let's watch all the quadrants. I'm like, okay, like, what's okay? And I'm not doing math, I'm just taking it
Right.
all in. So to me, it felt like legit, and I'm like, cool, I'm glad that we took that feedback and did what we needed to do here.
Yeah, I
It felt
appreciate them
like a real,
trying.
yeah.
Ultimately, for me, it was like it never felt like a viewable competition, and you didn't get to see the athletes that weren't really competitive, which included some of the really best athletes, specifically Fikowski, Vellner, Sarah Sigmund's daughter, Jamie
Yeah,
Simmons.
yeah,
You know, like you could probably continue to rattle off names of people that are loved in the community. I mean, they're all loved, but you get my
everyone,
point.
yeah,
Like, you know, just some of the biggest names that didn't have their best weekend. You know, they just didn't get any airtime. You know, it just felt weird. You know, that's all.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but you know, I did think it was fun to watch. I watched every part of it, so you know, they got what
Aw.
they wanted. They got
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
viewing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was always like a truncated version of what I'm hoping that, and I don't have any plans, and no one can pick my brain. I don't know what's happening, but I'm hoping that everything is expanded upon for the live in person. That's sort of
I
the impression I'm under.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, this will likely never happen again. So this feedback may mean nothing. But the only other reason I think it would have been cool to extend the viewing cycle, hold the videos for far longer than we did, is you could have then also gotten videos of the celebrations remotely. Like I watched the celebrations today of Haley Adams, for instance, and I was literally sitting there getting teary eyed watching her jump
I
around. You know what I mean?
know.
And all of them for that matter. Like they were showing the videos of all the women who had qualified, and it's Carrie Pierce and Haley Adams, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, like look at her jump around like a fool. Like,
I
you
know,
know,
but you know how they know? Do you know how they found out they qualified?
I think by watching your show, right?
On our show, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's my
So,
point. Like,
the thing is, if we didn't do it the way we did it, then they wouldn't have we wouldn't have been able to put that footage in our show, even if we held the events.
no,
Do
I
you know what
get
I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah, no, I get that. I just feel like there could have been a way to maybe string some of that together in a way that would have been more cohesive, so more people could have seen it, kind of gotten that experience of like the taste of victory at the end. It was really cool to see,
So
but
cute.
yeah, and I was super excited for her, so maybe that's why I just had it on.
Oh my God. So was I. I had her in my top 5.
Well, I had her like probably 6th or 7th, but only because she didn't think she was going to be top 5. She told us on this show she didn't think she was going to do well in an online competition, and then she went out and killed
Yeah,
it. So she's just a liar. That's all it is. Haley
completely.
Adams
She's
is a liar.
Terminator. She's a
Yes.
Terminator.
She's so good.
Okay, so let me ask you,
Mhm.
after watching the whole thing, do you think that it was like a complete test of fitness? Do you think that the 5 fittest people are going through?
Man, well, I will always say yes to that because I will never take away from somebody who won ever.
Yeah.
Like you'll never get me to do that. I will take and I do think the programming was really good. I mean, we could sit
Yeah.
here and talk about programming for hours. Like from a test of fitness of the 7 workouts, 4 or 5 of them were incredibly short.
Mhm.
So to say it was a full test, Dave would say yes. I don't know. Maybe. Like
Well, one of them
I'm
was in the like 15, 18-minute range.
yeah, one. And then you had a
Yeah.
3-minute, an 8-second friendly friend. You have a handstand hold that the men can't do longer than a minute and a half.
Seriously,
You've got
though.
and a minute and a half's a long time. Don't let anybody tell you different. You've got a 1,000-meter row that's again 3 minutes at best. And what were the others? You've got, that Diane was short, Annie was
Ish.
short,
Diane was short-ish.
short-ish,
Yeah.
Annie was short-ish. Like,
I mean, into the 10-minute range for some people.
yeah, I mean, look, I'm not complaining about programming. I always think Dave's programming is great. It didn't feel like games level programming. It felt like,
What?
well, let me
You
finish.
think?
It
Yeah.
felt like regionals plus early, and it felt like kind of, day 1 and day 2 of the games. Because it all, the games always gets hard. The games is 4 days, not
Yeah.
2. So I get it. Like you can't do a complete games programming in 2 days, and you're doing it remote. So none of this is a complaint. I thought what
Right,
Dave did
right.
was really nice. I thought it was well thought out. It was very CrossFit centric, which I appreciate. Like I always hate when they do dumb shit like a softball toss and whatever. They did that one year. You guys can all go look it up. So yeah, I thought the programming was good. Um, whether you can say it's a complete test of fitness, I think we'll answer that question after the top 5. I thought it was enough
Yeah.
to determine the top 5. It's
Yeah.
not that, on the women's side, I'd say absolutely. I thought the best 5 women got there, and and you can look and say the 3 behind them that were only 2 points out could
I
easily
know.
easily have
Oh.
been in the top 5. So
Yep.
it definitely panned out on the women's side, with the exception of maybe Sarah, who I think just had a bad weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie too, maybe a couple others. On the men's side, set Frazier aside, who's just on another planet.
Unreal.
Yeah, I thought the ones that were there, even you look at number 6 with Chandler. I thought, yeah,
Oh,
you kind of got the cream of the crop. There are a few outliers that didn't do what I thought they would do, but you could make that same argument last year. People,
absolutely.
said the same thing about the cuts, and like some of the people
Yeah.
that made the top 10 didn't deserve to be there. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I had no problem with the programming. I thought they were fun to watch. They were good workouts. That's partly why I wanted to see more split screen, because they are
Yeah.
like CrossFit centric workouts, and it would have been
Totally.
really
OG.
cool. Yeah, really cool to see Frazier and Noah side by side on
Uh-huh.
Fran. It
Yeah.
the only suggestion I would give them to, if they could do it all over again, what I would have rather seen them do is not only allow athletes to compete against each other, but force them to, and do it in regions. So you still do the time zones, but you make all the Australians work out together, all the West Coast work out together, all the East Coast work out together. I thought that from a
Hmm.
viewer standpoint, it would have been cool. From a competitive standpoint, it changes things for those athletes.
Oh, so clump them by region
Yeah, like
into a
regionals.
competition for the region where
Well,
all the
not
people in the region do it at the same time.
no, yeah. You don't. It's not regionals. I'm not suggesting we go back to regionals. I'm just saying, like in this scenario, for a filming standpoint and a
Yeah,
media
yeah.
standpoint, having Frazier and Olsen in the same room would have been really cool.
I know.
And would have been a lot of fun for people. And it would have been even more impressive when Frazier just smashed the hell out of him, because he would have.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I think that would have been cool. I don't think it would have been possible just because of COVID this year.
I know.
Still.
I'm just saying it would have been awesome if they could have. But man, the competition itself was good. I liked the program. I mean, it felt like the games, felt like the mini games. I'll be interested to see what Dave has coming up. I mean, he keeps alluding to the fact that, everybody acts like it's over and it's not. And when you look at the scoring scale for the games coming up, it's only going to take one bad event could blow up.
Oh, yeah.
Frazier's. Like I was talking to Saxon about this actually, or to Spencer. Sorry, they look alike. And I'm talking to Spencer, and I'm like, it wouldn't put it past Dave for the very first event to be some hardcore swimming event, which is a Olsen special.
Totally.
And you see Frazier potentially coming in 5th and getting little to no points. Mm-hmm. And then the second workout to be something not in his wheelhouse. And again, now he's in a hole, I mean, you're only competing against 5 people. He's going to test them. And, with that said, I was watching this going, all right, Frazier's not going to win the handstand hold, and he's not going to win the row. And then he finished 8th on the row and 2nd on the handstand hold. I'm like, what is this guy not good at?
0 things. He's good at everything.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. It's like, I had a ton of respect for him going into the weekend. Like, I can't even put into words what I think of him as an athlete.
I know.
He's just on a different plane.
I know. And he knows it, but also I don't get what makes him look. When I think of my interview questions, I try to ask the question that all of us are wanting to know, right? Like if I was just sitting out on my butt at home, eating Cheetos, being like, you suck, guy in 5th place.
Right.
And I watched Frazier dominate like that all weekend. What if I could ask him anything just as a fan, what the hell would I ask him? And so the first thing I asked him when I had him on live interview was like, dude, just how are you so dominant? It doesn't make any sense scientifically. I don't get it. All these guys are the best athletes on the planet. Sorry, it's my brother's dog is scratching his collar. You've heard that a couple of times.
I thought Santa Claus was landing. That's what it sounded like.
I know. No, he's a cute Boston Terrier with a jingly collar. His name is Riker, Commander William T. Riker, if you will.
Nice, Star Trek. I like it.
Legit.
Yes.
So so I asked him that. I was like, dude, just how do you pull away by over 100 points? And all he said to me was like, I trained my butt off. And I was like, yeah. Okay, next question, I guess. I don't get it. It doesn't, I'm trying to wrap my head around it like every other fan, and I can't. He's not human.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot there. We can talk about him for an hour, I guess, but
I know.
It was really, really impressive.
Seriously.
To see how far apart he is, just from a consistent standpoint across everything he's doing. There was nothing he was bad. He didn't win everything, but he didn't lose anything.
I know.
It was it was really impressive. So
crazy.
It's a long answer to say I like the competition. I thought the program was great.
Same. I loved it. I know I've heard a couple other people say that about not having a really long workout, and I've thought about that too. The only counter argument I can make in my head is so many people were upset when a long single modality thing like a run was what came before the end of the cuts and stuff last year. So it's you can't have it both ways.
Right.
It can't be also do a 10K run, but then also be well, there wasn't anything long. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm well, of course not. That's not something we're testing to get to the top 5.
People are always going to complain about the programming. I never feel like that's my job ever. I always respect what Dave does. I don't have any complaints about his programming, and I wouldn't even pretend to say that's something I'm an expert in. I'm just an expert at making fun of people. So, what do I care?
And you are masterful.
I am masterful at that. I will take credit for that.
You absolutely are. Well, I'm overall really glad how it all shook out, and I'm really excited to see the top 5 go. I'm a little bit heartbroken. Wanted to see Cara in the top 5. I really wanted to see Chandler in the top 5, but we'll see how the next season goes.
Yeah, I wanted Amanda Barnhart. I felt really bad for her. I mean, because she literally missed out by 2 points, and same for Chandler. Like, I was really bummed. I was excited to see the others. Like, I had Jeff Adler in my top 5, and he made
very
it.
solid choice.
Yeah, and
I'm so excited for him. Man, he's been working so hard.
I think it'll be good to see him, Justin Medeiros, go. Like, these are athletes that Fraser has never competed against, and
yep, that's right.
I told someone, it's like they're so young and have never competed at that level. They could go out and have the weekend of their lives, and they could be the ones that actually scare them. Like, you just never know. So I'm excited.
I mean, Noah could make another big run for it too.
Oh, he will. Noah's a fantastic competitor. I'm not taking anything away from him. I just think this is, it's, while it's not the normal top 5 on the men's side we're used to seeing, I think it'll be very competitive and fun to watch. So,
yeah, I agree.
So we'll see. I did have fun with my now second new bestie, Steph, while you were gone. She did a great job.
Oh my God, Niki, who? Like, Steph could absolutely come in here and take this spot. She crushed.
Oh, she did great. It was a little weird though. She comes on the podcast, and here are the differences. So she's in a athlete's room with all her medals behind her, where you're normally in a room with all your laundry behind you. Which
accurate description of what's happening right now.
Yes.
Do you like all the chartreuse?
I do.
Like all the new Reebok stuff that's like,
it's great.
Green, yellow,
and
green.
So she's always doing that. So she was like kind of hyper professional. And then I, because I'm used to doing this, I'm like, so what are you drinking? She's like, water. I'm like, Jesus, you're an athlete. I forget.
Right.
I'm like, let me get a bottle of tequila. One of us has to be hammered.
That's how we do the show, you guys.
Yes.
Come on.
It's not fun without alcohol. Jesus. So that was different. And we did a live stream. What was really funny to me, I don't even think she noticed, because she said she can't read the words as she's talking, and I'm really good at that, And so I'm reading it, and there's like all these dudes coming in calling her a snack.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, she's a cute girl. Like,
she is a snack. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but she had all these dudes coming in, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I hope she doesn't see all these comments. Like, it's so bad. It was just funny,
That's literally never happened to me on a live stream. Ain't nobody coming in calling me a snack.
Well, we haven't done any live streams, so we'll do some and see how many snack comments you get, but she got plenty.
Well, now we've prompted it, so now I'm not going to think it's real.
I know. Well, every time I talk about something on the show, today even, I got 2 or 3 more DMs, people saying clam slam from our last show.
So did I.
I get them every day now. We're going to need to make clam slam t-shirts, I think, because people apparently love that. I don't know.
Ooh, that's an aggressive slogan for a t-shirt.
I think it's a great slogan. Make clam slam great again.
Ooh. There's nothing I like about that.
People just keep sending it to me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is what we're going to get known for.
I know, right? Jesus.
But anyway, Steph was great. I thought, much like Annie, she brought, kind of a great athlete's perspective to what was going on competition wise. And, she was fun and like kind of totally natural in there. So it was good.
She's great. She's awesome. We should have her on. So I heard you guys entered me into a wager without my consent.
Yes. Well, so, the joke is, I've said forever, I'm as strong as a games athlete woman. So we're going to do all the workouts and compare our scores. And now that I've actually done a couple, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can beat her. I don't think I even told her the other day, I'm like, I think I can take you on the row. Like, I'm still, to this day, I'm still pretty confident I can probably, I don't know if I can beat her, but it'll be real close. She won't destroy me, but the other stuff, she's going to just absolutely crush me on. It isn't going to be close.
My money's on Steph destroying both of us on all the events.
I think I'll be really close on the front squat, and I'll be really close, or I'll beat her on the row. The other stuff,
I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't think so.
I think I will. I'm a good rower. I'm tall. I got that going for me.
But she's Steph Chung.
I know. We'll see.
She's got that going for her. That's a lot.
I need something. First of all, she's going to get a huge rest in the handstand hold, because she only has to go for longer than like 2.5 seconds, because that's the longest I'll be able to hold it.
Same.
It'll be
I don't know.
fun.
I'm going to have to figure out how to scale all of this for me, because you guys are going to do the same whatever. And I'll
do whatever the women's RX is, but they're even
I won't. Are you kidding me?
even some of those weights are aggressive. Like I kind of pseudo did Annie in my basement today. I couldn't do double unders down there, but I was doing push-ups instead.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the cleans. I'm like, oh, this
Uh-huh.
is gonna
Yeah.
suck at 185. No, thank you. Like,
Yeah. I pseudo did them with Logan. I pseudo did Annie with Logan the other day after we were done with the broadcast. And my abs still, like, they hurt so bad I can't roll over at night. And I only did them 50, 40, 30. And after that, I was like, I really don't want rhabdo tonight.
yeah, it's a lot of GHDs.
It's a lot of GHDs. And I'm like, it's been days and I am not okay.
Yeah,
I don't look like I have abs, but I feel like I have abs.
well, it does just go to show you like how impressive these athletes are, and you know, Steph's so humble. She's like, "Oh yeah, we'll do it. It'll be fun," and without even like any sense of irony, like I would die. You know, she wasn't even sitting there thinking someone would have to revive me, but they probably will. But
You can't do them alone in your basement. I'm scared
no,
for you.
I'm gonna actually have to ask Saxon to give me access to the gym. I have to go on a Thursday or something when it's open gym, and I'll figure it out. We'll do it. It'll be fun.
We'll do it live.
Yes. We'll do it
Yeah.
live. So anyway, all right. Well, I thought great recap. And I thought
Yeah.
you killed it. Are you going to the
Thank
games?
you.
Have they told you yet? Do you know?
That's the plan, but I don't really know one way or another until I don't think they know yet.
Do I need to get a
But my
campaign
plan is to
together?
go.
I can get a
Say
campaign
again?
together. We can get a campaign like on the page would be
Willie Brazier 2020.
no, just for you, a campaign to get you to the games. Get Nikki
Oh,
to the
send Niki to
games.
games.
Yes.
Oh God. I think they'll figure it out in the weeks to come. They probably have like logistically, they probably still have stuff that they need to figure out, like with the state of California now that the fires are like dying down and COVID is COVID-y. When I was out there, gyms were like just opening up again. Like that week was their first week back, which is crazy to me because in Rhode Island, and we've been doing great for so long. Everything's been open since June 1st, and like
here.
you just get really used to wearing a mask. So I was like, oh yeah, other parts of the country suck.
Yeah.
I forgot this sucks for you guys still.
Yeah, dude, we've been in gyms now since April.
Yeah.
And haven't had to close, like no masks, like everybody's running around, nobody's getting sick. It's great,
Same. You have to wear a mask like unless you're in your square.
So we don't even have to do that.
Oh, really?
No, we have to have squares. We have squares, but the only person that has to wear a mask is the coach.
Yeah.
It's Ohio.
Yeah, I wear a mask and I'm coaching too.
It's here for the Midwest, baby. Yes.
Hey.
It's great. Love it. Well, all right. Well, this has been fun. It's great to get to chat with you again.
Yeah.
And so now we'll just start saying hashtag Steph who.
No, Niki who.
No, now that you're back, Steph's gone.
Oh, now that I'm back.
Yeah, so now it's Steph who. I know. Bye, Steph. You out.
Bye, Steph.
All right. Well, it's great seeing you again. For everyone listening, we appreciate it. And we will chat with you guys soon.